too, because Nathaniel, your thought process has to change.
Well, this is an exciting show. This is part two. This is January 20th, the day of the inauguration, and the day, a couple days after MLK Day, and we are talking about race in America and more. And then, Layla, you had something to say there before.
Yes, as Nathaniel was saying that, you sort of work growing up in Brazil, and even here when I came to America, I've been fortunate that, Jay, me physically, I'm well built and I'm very communicative, but I'm always been a very hard work girl. And every job that I went, fortunately, less than a year or maybe 3-4 months, I was always promoted to a better position because it didn't matter whatever job was given to me. Even if I felt that I could have gone get another job at the time, I knew that I was gonna get there. So I would do always the best for me to do it, and I would get it. But I was gonna get all the racism or things that would come from another women because they were envious of what I was getting. And what I would hear in the back was like, oh, she probably sleep with the boss. Oh, she probably this. Oh, she's there. But you know what I did? I completely ignore. But and then instead of fighting with them, I would go to the boss, communicate to him what was happening. He would get everybody together. And then he would just tell them why I got my promotion. Because, back in the days, they wouldn't tell. You got promoted, you got promoted. So that's Veronica was saying is we have to really stop thinking that because we are a certain color, we're not going to get there. Because and then you won't. Because you already put in your mind something negative. So that's, oh, I won't get there. I won't get there because of it. No, you just got to look at people and say, oh, I'm going to get there. Do the right thing. Follow the rules. Don't try to step on others. You'll be okay in life. That's how I see. That's why I think when I look to people, I really don't see. I know they are different in skin and hair, makeup, but doesn't make it for me that I'm not going to talk to them. I talk even to dogs and plants, and people call me crazy. I talk to everybody.
I like to chime in if I can.
Go for it.
It was Anthony. I was actually, I've already said my piece. I think Anthony might jump in.
Okay, I wanted to chime in directly to Nathaniel's situation, if that's okay, Nathaniel. One of the reasons...
Hey, hot minute. Let's give it a hot minute. Go for it.
One of the reasons that Nathaniel has to get student loans is because his parents are black and old. If his parents were... No, that's the truth. If his parents were white and old, they may have been able to put back enough money. They might have been able to get an education so that he didn't have to get student loans and pay for him. So yes, we've come a long way, but Nathaniel's generations behind white people. I'm a white person, first person in my family from Alabama to graduate high school. I have made millions of dollars in business. I have 4 degrees. I've authored 3 books. I am the exception to the rule. What I did was, when I owned companies, I tried to hire black therapists. You know how many black therapists I saw in 20 years of the profession? 2. You know how many Hispanic ones I saw? 7. Whereas I saw hundreds of white ones. That system is set up that way to make sure blacks and Hispanics and people of color do not advance. Does that mean that they don't advance from time to time? Does that mean there isn't a Veronica or a Layla? There is, but it isn't about you. It's about everyone. And America is not true to its ideals until we fix the problem. And fix the problem is give reparations. It shouldn't be reparations. It should be called back pay with interest, because that's what's owed. Give the black person his 40 acres and a mule, replace the mule with a new convertible Mustang, give them the GI Bill that they were denied, give them the college education they were denied. When we give the black people all of that and they still come out, some of them be failures, I'm fine with calling them a failure. But until then, until they get the opportunities white people have got, generation after generation, then we have to look. We don't go to a doctor and goes, hey, you got cancer, but let's not focus on the tumor. You focus on the tumor. Okay, so Veronica, I'm glad you've done what you've done. Liela, I'm glad you've done what you've done, but you're the 1% just like I am. But we have to fix the nation for 99%.
Okay, but I need a minute. Okay, that's great. However, what you just said, I can attest to some of that, but for the most part of it, you still have people that decide they go to college that came from a single parent home. It's all about choice. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It has nothing to do with skin color. It is about choice. And if a person is just choosing to graduate from high school and not go to college, or say, well, you know what, I don't have money for the college, but the military doesn't discriminate, I went to the military. It's all about choice. And I'm just not going to listen to this about it's all about race and because somebody's parents didn't have it. There's some poor Caucasian people that I know that kind of got themselves together. So it's not about their parents had the money to do this. It's only a few percentage of Caucasian families that's up in that 3% that's living really, really, really high. And the middle class family is still here. If you go in the inner city, they have, like here in Georgia, they have the Hope Scholarship, I believe. And so that means that you get college free as long as you choose to go to college in your state. And they're choosing not to do that. So I'm just not going to listen to that. We have to change the narrative. So I'll be stupid to think that, oh, because this lady over here is Caucasian, her child is going to do better than mine. I was a divorced mother, and I raised 3 girls as a single parent, and all 3 of my girls are college grads. And they did that through student loans. So we all have the option, and they're not, and one is in the military. Both of my 2 oldest children served in the military, but all over the world. And so I'm just not going on that. We have to change the narrative, and we have to change it now. And what it is, y'all need to stop letting these children be twerking and listening to the WAP and all of that type of foolishness, and pick up a book and read it. Because when you look at these young ladies on the internet doing all these seductive dancing, the majority of them.
He's turning me on. Can we change the subject?
Turn it over. Yeah, it is powerful.
You, Veronica.
Hey, Jay, I would like to chime in if I could. Honestly, Veronica was hitting on some good points. There's a lot of things I didn't agree with, but the narrative, she brought up narrative and reading. I'll jump on that. The person that controls the narrative, if you can control the narrative, you can control people. That's something I've learned when I have been doing my podcast with some elders in the community here in Monterey County, and just my own reading and research. And I'm saying that because systemically, and I'm sure you all have heard of systemic racism, it's just like anything else. If you don't change, you were right, Veronica. We have to change the narrative. We have to talk about something new. But if we have never really changed the narrative, how can we start something new? The civil rights movement was started in 1940 and ended in 1960. And let's not forget, Martin Luther King was assassinated. He didn't go off in the sunset.
That's right.
Because he was trying to help the Black people. So
yes, and he was killed for it. And so after can I finish really quick? After 1960, and they allowed us to drink from the same water fountain and sit in whatever seat we wanted to in a bus and go to school with children that are different colors. And as my mom used to tell me when she first went to school with someone that was white, she was, ecstatic. She was happy, that she has, and all these other things. This is not that long ago. We have people today that remember those things. We didn't just because we're able to drink from the same water fountains now doesn't mean we change policy and laws. We never really discussed the situations. We never really discussed the trauma and all that. You can't just punch somebody in the face and say, okay, we can be friends now. You know, we have to talk about that. That's all I have to say.
I think we're gonna give it to Marvin because I think he needs to leave.
I needed to leave, and I had a 7 o'clock board meeting, but this was so interesting that I stayed on. And
Bye, Marvin. Happy birthday. If I was near you, I would bake you a cake.
hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah,
Okay.
bye-bye. Good luck with the foundation.
Okay. The website, owpp.org. owpp.org. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marvin. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Bye.
Bye.
Guys, do y'all know how hard it was for me not to say a joke about a Jewish guy running a nonprofit? That's unbelievable.
Can I say something?
Yes,
To
ma'am.
Anthony?
Are we staying on? Everybody staying on?
Yes.
All right. Okay, what other topics you guys want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk about this is where I have an issue with. For African American people to always talk about what's happening in the community, but yet we support this particular administration, this abortions. I don't understand how a preacher could preach the gospel but still support abortion. I'm kind of lost on that.
55% of abortions are Christians. So Christians are full of shit on the abortion issue. I'm sorry. Okay.
I think we need it.
Yeah.
Well, we have this lady behind us right here.
Yay, I love her.
That'd be a nice segue from you know, this race war. So we have this young lady right here. She's a new vice president of the United States. How's that? How you guys?
Love it.
How do you guys, people of color, feel about that? For starters.
But why? But why are you addressing toward the people of color?
Well, I don't know. I'm just trying to ask the
She's
question.
the
I mean,
person of two
Exactly.
colors.
That's the thing. It always has to bring the color. Why?
Well,
I want to agree
I
with
would
you.
like to, I could address it really quick just to, you know, answer. Honestly, thank you, Jay. Honestly, I think that it's amazing that she's, it's about time that a woman in general has become in that level of vice president. I would have loved to see her as president, you know what I mean? Honestly.
You might if they killed Joe Biden.
Can I finish?
Yeah, Veronica, believe me, he's gonna be gone soon.
Sorry, I don't know how much time I have left, Jedi, but all right. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that it's about time. You know, like we shouldn't. Sadly, you know, we get excited about people of color who get in those positions because that doesn't happen often. You know, we're finally going to a generation in future where that's going to continue to happen. And Veronica and Layla, if you want to, you know, stop hearing about discrimination, racism, microaggressions, then help people of color, yes, I'm saying it, rise. And don't shut down, you know, who are just trying to make sure their people, our people, and women are heard, you know, like that's a good thing. You know, we want to brag about Martin Luther King, but you don't want to actually do the work that he did. You know, he was hated in his time and he would have been hated now.
Yes.
You know,
I'm hated right now in this time.
You can't quote Martin Luther King and not actually know what he's about. You have to know your history. You know, that's all I have to say. You know, someone.
Okay, so I agree. I agree with you, and I do try to help. As a matter of fact, hot minute, I told my daughter lives in Texas. And when I was there in November, I said, hey, have you thought about creating, I said, I've been thinking about creating a mentorship program so that I can help these young ladies that are between the ages of 18 and 25, because I believe that's the age where they're lost. To me, that's the majority of the ones that are on the internet twerking, that's pregnant, and you have a baby or two babies. And I'm a proponent of trying to teach that generation between 18 and 25 about not having children out of wedlock, because it brings so much catastrophe. And so when you say, if we want to help, I do. But when you go there, if they're not receptive, what are you going to keep doing? You keep helping, but what are you going to do if they're not receptive? Because some people just don't want to come out of that lifestyle. They don't want to stop doing things that's not helping them progress.
Can I respond to that?
No,
Okay, so I did healthcare for years. I worked with workers' comp patients, people injured on the job. I started doing that at 19 years old. I was told by every insurer and employer that injured employees are full of shit. They are the problem. They don't want to get well. So what I did was I decided to treat them like a non-work injury, like we do with athletes. I kept statistics on everything. I had to throw out 3% of the people. I was told 80% were full of shit. Who was full of shit was the healthcare system. They don't want you to get well. They want to keep you sick. So it's just like seeing a chiropractor. A chiropractor makes money by not addressing the source of the problem. He fixes the symptom, and he knows you'll be back to again because he didn't fix the source. We're not fixing the source of racism.
Never go to a chiropractor.
Okay, but we're not fixing.
Never been.
We're not fixing the source of racism. That's why black men have been being shot by the cops since the first cop. Okay, so we have to address the actual problem. And white people don't want to give up money. They don't want to give up free college. They want to give up their freedoms. They don't want to give up their job with affirmative action. So until those problems are addressed, this system is never going to be fixed. So it's not to say we're doing better. Okay, but we got to fix the source of the problem.
What is the source?
Racism. Right?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay.
I'm going to continue with Veronica. I believe that the problem is rooted. It's not really educating the children, the generation that's coming, especially now more than ever. It doesn't matter the color, but if a child doesn't have teachers or parents telling them, hey, especially with abortion and everything that we talk about, if you go get in a intimate relationship, you're gonna get pregnant. It's wrong. You're not adults to even understand the transformation that's going to be physically, socially in your life. There is no discussion there. And then the kids go to school. The parents are, I know because I participate in many schools help, and I would hear teachers say something to our students, don't discuss that with your parents, because they know that good parents would not allow that kind of conversation. School incentive kids to use condom. When you say, listen, the condom is there, but you shouldn't be using unless you really know that that person is all those basics. Huh? No, okay, but the point that the things that happen is when you don't give it there to the children to understand, they're gonna be lost and they're gonna be grabbing things there. So
all right, well, let's just finish it up with this. My father used to say, sticks and stones might break my bones, but names should never hurt me. And that's kind of resonating with me right now with this whole conversation. So let's try to figure out a way to build this bridge somehow. So I kind of get what you guys are saying, Veronica and Liela, in your respects, with overcoming, where you're at and trying to achieve regardless of the situations that are at bay. And you already know they're at bay. You just got to keep on pushing through, like we all do in life. We keep pushing through in life, you know. And then I have a neighbor who's a I don't know if it was the right thing to say. He's black, and then and he said, and in conversation, I said, in my conversation with him, it's for fun, you know. I was like, I'd say boy somehow. I would say, what's up, boy, or what's up, or whatever like that. And he said to me that he didn't like that, but it was, I don't think I said it in a negative way. I was just in some kind of context. And so he said it to me too. And so I see where you're coming from, Nathaniel, but I also see where they're coming from. We have to be able to overcome the name calling and be stronger than that with our self-worth. And I think that's what my dad's nonprofit kind of comes into play, because we have to have that inner fire, the inner desire to move through things and overcome things and be above it all. And so that's kind of where I'm sitting with all this conversation you guys said. Steve, you haven't said a lot tonight. Do you have anything to say? You're a writer.
I agree with what you're all saying. But to add to that, when you talk about the language, then it's like, I can call my mom a bitch, but you can't call my mom a bitch. It's across the board. Everybody's got to be respectful to themselves and to each other. And, Veronica, when you're talking about these young girls getting pregnant, you want to help them all. That's like herding cats. You look at it like religion. I'm going to help one. I'm going to help two. And then they're going to help two. They're going to help two. And have it just take off like that, because you can't help everybody. And, not everybody is always going to be on the same page at the same level at the same time. And you'll drive yourself totally out of your mind. So if you can help one person, you've been successful. And again, then it's a matter of giving it back to the world, see if they're going to follow and be that example that you were to them and affect other people in a positive way.
That's beautiful, Steve.
That's important, because otherwise you're gonna drive yourself nuts. You took care of your daughters. You did a great job. And that was really, really good. So there's 3 people right there you took good care of. That's a great
Steve. That's a bridge.
Yeah.
I call that a bridge, baby.
Right.
All right. What's next, Jay? Come on, man. Let's go.
I'll pass it around. I mean, I've said
that topic. What's the new topic?
Oh, the new topic. Well,
I say one more.
We have a new president. How's everybody feel?
Let's go Inauguration Day.
Inauguration Day. I was very happy with what I saw today. I saw when Pence was there and he was supporting, the home team, if you will, or your team. And then he got into the vehicle and he left. But I tell you the best part. I have a video of it, but I have a picture. The best part was when the vice president and her husband was standing there. Let's see, do I have a picture? Freaking A. And they're on the steps and they're waving goodbye to the SUV with Pence in it below. And then, I don't know where it is. And then you can see the gentleman, and he
sit down, fool. You're off camera. What are you doing?
He bent over like, bye, kids. Anyway, body language says so much, and I don't know where that is.
That's so good.
Picture. But
all right, once around the room, inauguration. Veronica, do you want to start us off?
I watched a little bit of it. I thought it was very non-traditional, because, I watched the one with Obama passing it off to Donald Trump, and it was the whole thing was just non-traditional. I just hope they do well. Kamala will probably end up taking the reins. I don't know. Joe kind of looks a little, I don't know. He kind of troubles me because it looked like he looks a little frail. So
he old.
I'm excited.
He old in the mud.
Yeah.
He's old as my mom.
Yeah, but I think we have to know the agenda, which is that agenda to a one world government of the Democratic Party,
Okay.
one world religion,
Right.
one world currency, to cause race wars,
Okay.
and to overthrow Christianity, and
There we
that's
go.
kind of what they're leading to.
Yep.
And
Where do I
they've done
sign up
that,
for that?
especially with the
That's not gonna
BLM
unite
and the
it.
Antifa, huh?
Where do I
That's
sign
not
up?
gonna unite the nation. That is.
See, this
Yeah,
is why
yeah,
we go around in a circle. Hold up. Time out. All right, Liela. Go
Okay,
ahead, Liela.
I will say this. For the first time in all my years in this nation, I did not watch a thing because
Me neither.
it's just it was, you know, I love it. I'm very. 4th of July is my favorite thing. I love everything about America. I grew up in Brazil. Brazilians, we love Americans. Used to love. So I just like Veronica. I don't really feel. I hope that they do well because the nation needs to heal from so many. The
Okay.
world needs to heal. But
Okay.
I don't. The way this whole things, that all this national arm over there. I thought I was leaving Venezuela. I thought I was leaving what I left behind in my country when I decided to come to this nation. So I said, I'm not gonna even wanna go there to put my mind in that set again. So I'm just moving forward. I wish the best to our nation because
Beautiful.
well, but I am not, to be honest, very pleased with what I see happening, and so I just wish everybody well. And I had no interest to see something said, as I'm sure it was, because no people there and all that thing. So I'm not into it.
Yeah.
All right, that's your hot minute. All right, going around the room. Anybody else? Inauguration day.
I'll go.
Because I got to get out of here.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was up early. I saw Trump before he got on the plane. I saw the inauguration, and there were times I was staring at my TV saying, that's bullshit. And what I heard this morning was Biden actually mirrored a lot of things that Trump said, and about, it can't be built on hate. We got to stop this. We got to stop that. I think there's been a lot of that in this country in the last 4 years, and the hate came from the Democrats. So
Yeah.
I'm willing to.
Yes.
Calm down.
And I'm willing to say, okay, let's put it behind us. Let's not look in the rearview mirror. Let's look ahead. But for every little stumbling block that comes forward, we can't look back and say it was that other guy's fault. You want the job, then you got to look forward.
Right on.
We all got to work together. That's great. But then we got to remind ourselves that do we have the right people that we voted for? Are they really representing what we want? You talk about Jimmy Panetta. Does he really represent what we want? And so it's the same thing. Are we going to play the political game, or are we going to get through the bullshit, and are we going to do some business and pull this thing out and work together as a people? That's the difference.
Man, that's the truth.
There you go, Mike.
Preach it, brother.
Well, Steve,
Thank you, Steve.
you mentioned earlier the best revenge is to do better earlier on. And I would say that there's a saying that a lot of people say is that why don't you pull yourself up from your own bootstraps? But I had to find boots before I could pull them up. I didn't have them. But I would say for the inauguration, someone said non-traditional. We're in a pandemic. I don't know how else they could have done this other than the way they have done it. 400,000 people, let's not forget, died. Again, 400,000 human beings died.
What I was talking about when I said
No matter. During
when I said non-traditional.
I'm not done. I don't think.
Hold on, Veronica. We'll circle back.
I think people weren't realizing that there was, no one had brought up is that, remember the Capitol riots where there were all conservative, I'm not going to mention color because you know what they looked like. Waving Confederate flags, yelling their far-right Christian beliefs. And let's not forget, a lot of people that claim to be Christian don't even realize that Christian is founded on Judaism and Greek philosophy. I hate to tell you, people don't even, again, you have to know your history when you're talking about stuff. How do you I'm gonna end on how do you criticize something you don't understand? If you say you didn't watch